Hi everyone, it's Miss MaryMargaret from the Sand Lake Library. I'm here today with another story time. This time it's all about groundhogs. Some people call them woodchucks, but they predict the weather in the springtime, or so people say. So we're going to be talking about groundhogs in celebration of Groundhog's Day, which is early next week. All right, let's do our hello song, and then we'll get right to our fun books. Okay? Here we go. Up, down, turn around, touch the sky, touch the ground. Wiggle fingers, wiggle nose, wiggle shoulders, wave hello. All right, this is our first book.
Go to Sleep, Groundhog by Judy Cox and pictures by Paul Meisel. Groundhog went to bed on Columbus Day, just like he always did. He brushed his teeth. He put on his jammies. He set his clock for February 2nd. Then he curled up in his warm, cozy bed. He closed his eyes. He tossed and turned, but he couldn't get to sleep. Finally, he got out of bed. He peered at his clock, 1/2 past October. Groundhog poked his nose outside his burrow. The moon was full. "I'll just go for a little walk," he said. "Maybe that will make me sleepy." Groundhog went outside. He saw things he'd never seen before. Raggedy scarecrows and grinning jack-o'-lanterns. Children dressed up like pirates, cowboys, and princesses. Halloween Witch flew down. "What are you doing up?" she said. "It's almost winter. You should be in bed." Witch flew Groundhog home on her broomstick. She tucked him in. She read him a ghost story. She gave him a glass of apple cider. Groundhog curled up in his warm, cozy bed. He closed his eyes. He tossed and turned, but he couldn't get to sleep. Finally, he got out of bed. He peered at his clock, 1/2 past November. He poked his nose outside his burrow. The leaves were red and yellow. "I'll just go for a little walk," he said. "Maybe that will make me sleepy." Groundhog went outside. He saw things he'd never seen before. Tall yellow corn shocks and round orange pumpkins. Turkeys gobbling in the barnyard. "What are you doing up?" Turkey said. "It's almost winter. You should be in bed, and I should be making myself scarce." Turkey took Groundhog home. He tucked him in. He read him a story about pilgrims. He gave him a slice of pumpkin pie. Groundhog curled up in his warm, cozy bed. He closed his eyes. He tossed and he turned, but he couldn't get to sleep. Finally, he got out of bed. He peered at his clock, 1/2 past December. Groundhog poked his nose outside his burrow. Stars twinkled overhead. "I'll just go for a little walk," he said. "Maybe that will make me sleepy." Groundhog went outside. He saw things he'd never seen before. Colored lights glowing on some houses, candles shining in windows, holly wreaths hanging on doors. He heard sleigh bells chiming in the air. Santa flew down in his sleigh. "Ho, ho, ho, ho! What are you doing up?" Santa said. "It's winter. You should be in bed." Santa took Groundhog home in his sleigh. He tucked him in. He read him a Christmas story. He gave him a glass of milk and a cookie. Groundhog curled up in his warm, cozy bed. He closed his eyes. He didn't toss, and he didn't turn, and soon he fell asleep. Ring! Groundhog opened one eye. "It can't be time to get up yet," he grumbled. "I just got to sleep." He peered at his clock. February 2nd. Groundhog yawned and stretched. He tumbled out of his burrow. Snow glittered on the ground. The sun was out. The sky was blue. Groundhog saw his shadow. "What am I doing up?" he said. "There are 6 more weeks of winter coming. I should be in bed." He hurried back inside. He ate a bedtime snack. He read himself a bedtime story. Then he tucked himself into his warm, cozy bed, and he pulled up the covers, closed his eyes, and went to sleep.
That was a good book. Do you know what it's called when animals sleep for so long in the wintertime? Yes, it's called hibernating. So the groundhog is an animal that hibernates. Let's do a little hand drawing. Are you ready? Here we go. You have to get your groundhog out. Ready? Here's a little groundhog, furry and brown. He's popping out of his hole to look around. If he sees his shadow, down he'll go. And then 6 more weeks of winter. Oh no! All right, let's do another book. And this one has lots of different animals in it. Let's go ahead.
Who will see their shadows this year? By Jerry Pallotta. And illustrated by David Bydrazicki. It is February 2nd. The animals are tired of winter. If a groundhog casts a shadow, it means 6 more weeks of winter. But why should the groundhog always be famous? What about us? "Let me try my shadow," says the chicken. Oops, it causes a rainstorm. The polar bear tries its shadow. Its huge shadow causes a blizzard. The camel tries. Its shadow starts a sandstorm. The dog shows its shadow. Bow wow, it gets foggy. Will the pig's shadow work? Oink, it's a hurricane. When the buffalo shows its shadow, it sleets. The animals are getting frustrated. How can we bring spring? What about a panda shadow? Ping, ping, ping. It starts to hail. Try a koala shadow. Gale force winds. Still no spring. Maybe the butterfly shadow works. Hot, sweaty, and muggy. The ring-tailed lemur swings in to show its shadow. It gets misty, like in a rainforest. A peacock shadow might bring spring. Wow! It's a tornado! The noise awakens the groundhog. Look! The groundhog has no shadow. It's spring! It's spring! Winter is over. Happy Groundhog Day.
Sounds like all the animals wanted to be like the groundhog and see their shadow and make spring come. Do you see my little groundhogs over here? We're going to play a game. So let's see, how many groundhogs do I have? Did you say 3? Good job. 1, 2, 3. You're right. So are they all the same or are they different? Yes, they all are brown, so that's the same. But I only see the ears and the eyes and a little bit of nose on this one. I can see the whole head on this one, and oh look, their arms are going up in the air. Hey, wait a minute. I can see the whole groundhog on this one. Their feet and their arms and their whole belly. So there's things that are the same, but there's also some things that are different. On this game, what we're going to try to do is match the shadows to the correct groundhog. Let's try it. So this is my first shadow. Does this look like the shadow for that picture? No, this shadow only has the top of our groundhog's head. This one has the whole head and arms and belly. No, that's not the same. Well, how about this one? No, that's not the same either. These arms are going down while these arms are going up. Could it be this one? Yes, you're right. That's the correct shadow for this groundhog. All right, let's try another one. How about this one? Could it be the shadow for that picture? Yes, it's just the top of the groundhog's head, just like this picture. They match. Good job. All right, we have one more shadow and one more groundhog. Do you think they'll match? I think so. Do they match? Yes, they do. This is the groundhog's head, and the arms are going up, just like the head and the arms going up in the picture. You're a good matcher, aren't you? All right. We're going to have to do our goodbye song now. Our story time is all over. Up, down, turn around, touch the sky, touch the ground, pat your tummy, blink your eyes, blow a kiss, mwah, and wave goodbye. Bye-bye, everyone. I'll see you next time.
Before we go today, I have one last little thing I wanted to share with you. This is from a book that has a bunch of information and experiments and all kinds of cool stuff about Groundhog's Day. But what I really liked about it was it has a bunch of really simple riddles. So I thought I'd share those with you. The Groundhog Day book of facts and fun by Wendy Old and illustrated by Paige Billen Fry. Who leaps tall buildings in a single bound? It's Super Hog. What's green, has 4 legs, and jumps out of its hole on February 2nd? The ground frog. What do lunar groundhogs do on February 2nd? Whatever they want. There are no seasons on the moon. What side of the groundhog has the most hair? The outside. What is a groundhog's favorite book? Holes by Louis Secker. What do you have when you cross a groundhog with a peanut? An animal who predicts spring and acts like a nut. What should you do if you find a groundhog sleeping in your bed? Sleep somewhere else. What kind of stories do baby groundhogs like best at bedtime? Furry tales. What happens if the ground log sees its shadow? We'll have 6 more weeks of splinters. How do you ask a 4,000-pound groundhog to move out of your way? Very politely. How can you tell a groundhog from a duck? You can't tell a groundhog anything. They only understand groundhogese. What is a laughing groundhog called? A grin hog. What does a groundhog call their father's father? Grandhog. What do you call a groundhog's laundry? Hogwash. How do groundhogs smell? With their noses. What's a groundhog's favorite food? Burritos. Where do sick groundhogs go? To the hospital. What do you get if you cross Frankenstein's monster with a groundhog? I don't know. but I'm not sticking around to find out. What do you call a groundhog adopted from the Humane Society? A pound hog. What do you call a groundhog who eats too much? A round hog. And here's the last one. What do you call a royal groundhog? A crowned hog.